When it comes to dealing with toxic people, the conventional life wisdom can often end up creating these inner demons of anger, frustration, and depression inside of you. Because the wisdom that you usually hear from people like parents, teachers, coaches, self-improvement gurus, and well-meaning friends usually says something along the lines of, if a person is being rude, disrespectful, mean, or bullying you, then you should realize that that person is simply projecting their own insecurities onto you. They're taking everything they hate about themselves and pushing it onto you so that you feel just as bad about yourself as they do about themselves, and they're just trying to lift themselves up by bringing you down. And you should realize that the problem is not you, it's that toxic, mean bully over there and there. And now that kind of radical awareness and radical acceptance, it may be true because, that is pretty much how toxic narcissists' brains work, as far as when their ego is hurt, they try to bring someone else down to lift themselves back up. But that awareness alone really doesn't make you feel better about the situation overall, when you think about it, because it could just make you feel very angry and frustrated that there's so much toxicity in the world, and you can eliminate one toxic person from your life today and then stumble upon another one tomorrow, because they're everywhere and every time and place, always have been and always will be toxic people in this world. So the two big things not to do when it comes to dealing with toxic people, if you want to keep your self-confidence intact, is number one, obsessing with understanding every single bit about how their mind works, and number two, relying on the FU method of getting back at them. And what I mean by that is, let's explore the first scenario, obsessing with understanding every single bit about their psychology. Now, this is something that happens to a lot of empaths who are dealing with narcissistic abuse. They will get so fixated on trying to understand every last detail about how that narcissist or toxic person's brain works, and they'll watch so many videos like Dr. Ramani narcissism videos, and listen to podcasts and read articles, read books, do so much research to the point where they practically earn this honorary degree in psychology with a specialty in narcissism and toxic people, antisocial personality disorders, dark psychology, and personality types and all that stuff. And what happens in that scenario is that you can get so fixated on trying to understand this toxic person's brain that you start neglecting your own self-care. You can definitely learn something from experts on YouTube or podcasts, books, articles, and all that stuff. Knowledge is power, but just don't stare too long. Check in with yourself when you've gotten to the point where, hey, look, today and yesterday and the day before that, I spent more time thinking about this toxic person's mindset than about my own mindset. Because that can get you in this rabbit hole where you are still frustrated that the situation is happening, and then realizing how common it is, then you start seeing narcissism, toxicity, and antisocial behavior everywhere, and then think about every time in your past when a person's been toxic, every time in your current life, and then anticipating in the future what kinds of toxicity you can encounter, and just being so frustrated at the world and mad at yourself for constantly getting into these situations. Oh, how could I keep letting this happen to me? And all that stuff. So while you may think you're empowering yourself with information, if it goes too far, you can end up actually hurting yourself a lot psychologically. And then scenario two, where you're relying on the middle finger method of dealing with this person. You're just like, F you, you're an asshole, and just call them out on it and fight fire with fire, and then end up perpetuating this cycle of becoming that same toxic bully who pissed you off in the first place. Because that's exactly what the toxic bullies do. You know, they rely on insult and aggression, and you know, the middle finger method isn't always literally like giving the middle finger to the person in the moment and telling them right to their face, F you. Sometimes it can be more like you're thinking it, right? Like in your mind, you're like, I wish that I could just stick your head in a skull-crushing device and watch your brain spill out everywhere and go F yourself and stuff like that. And again, that just makes you practice being angry, because that's another example of fixating so much on this person's toxicity that you end up thinking about them more than yourself. So in that case, being so aware that this toxic bully is just projecting all their own self-hatred onto you doesn't make you feel better about the situation. It can actually make you overly aware about all the evil in the world and have this really negative worldview where you just see the world as such a dark place and kind of anticipate that every new person you meet is going to turn on you, is going to turn out they're really toxic, so I can't get close to people in the first place because they'll just piss me off and hurt me later on and stuff like that. So none of those situations are good. So what do you do instead of obsessing or relying on the middle finger to deal with toxic people in your life? Well, the answer is do something, any damn thing. What I mean for that is lights, camera, action. Take action, because talk is cheap and thoughts mean virtually nothing by themselves without action. Okay, take action. Do something that makes you feel good about yourself. Do an activity that brings out your positive qualities and helps build more of them. So on my channel here, Lilia the Inner Demon Crusher, I have a lot of videos that involve dancing, functional fitness, athletic, acrobatic dancing with the katana, also music, singing, comics, ventriloquism, comedy skits, all kinds of stuff. And the whole point of those videos is that it's not about what kind of acrobatic movements you can do. It's not about how much you lift in the gym or anything like that. It's about the overarching idea of improving your mental health through action, like physical, mind, body, connection type of action. Something that involves your brain and your body into this gesture that brings out the good qualities that you want to emphasize in yourself. So, for example, let's say your activity is running. So, some toxic bully is really pissing you off today. Instead of hyper-analyzing where their toxicity comes from, go out on a run. When you're running, every step you take represents a commitment to doing your best. You're building strength, building endurance. You're showing yourself how strong you are now and building more strength and endurance for the future. You're showing yourself that you can keep moving forward despite what happens to you. And that's so powerful, so much more powerful than any words that you can read, because you're actually putting that reality into your body. And your brain is understanding, okay, yes, I am a person who can do stuff. I don't have to stop in my tracks. I don't have to drop what I'm doing and hyper-analyze this mean person. And even if you don't have that go-to hobby that always makes you feel good about yourself, if you do anything, literally any damn thing, like make a sandwich, clean your room, organize the files on your computer, even that will A, get your mind off of that toxic person's situation that they're creating for you, and B, it'll show you that you can still be productive and do something useful despite what kind of conflict might have happened. So the whole point of my little bit of wisdom today is take action. Action is the most powerful thing you can do to build true self-confidence in the face of toxic people. So if you want some ideas for powerful actions you can take, you can get those ideas right here on my channel. Go ahead and browse Lilia the Inner Demon Crusher. I have all kinds of videos about dance, music, functional fitness, comedy, ventriloquism, story writing. And speaking of stories, you can check out my Inner Demon Crusher comic book series, because that also gives you ideas about how powerful actions will improve your mental health. So that's my bit of wisdom for today. Now it's your turn to go crush it.